Welcome back, everyone. My name is Santino Jones, but you can call me Tino. And today, we're gonna be reviewing a game that you've probably never played or heard of. Let's get started. So today's game we're gonna be reviewing is none other than Def Jam Vendetta for the PS2 and GameCube. The concept of Def Jam is actually very interesting to me. I remember getting this game back in 2003. I was 5 years old. My dad brought us a game. We had no idea what it was, but we instantly fell in love with it. For those who are not familiar with the concept of Def Jam, it's basically a fighting / wrestling game for the current rappers in this era. You have rappers like Redman, Method Man, Ludacris, Nori, Capone, and it just worked. It brought two elements that if you wasn't a wrestling fan, but you was a hip hop fan, this game was for you. And it turned that person to a wrestling fan. Same thing for wrestling fans. You want in the hip hop rap scene of the early 2000s, then this game will show you that, hey, rap music isn't so bad. So it brought two cultures together that no one ever think would fit. If you grew up in the early 2000s, you know all about EA Sports Bigs. EA Sports Bigs was responsible for a lot of games such as NBA Streets, NFL Streets, FIFA Streets, and so on and so forth. They were known for their over-the-top gameplay, and which made them very iconic in the early 2000s. So having a Def Jam label right on that would make a whole lot of sense. And it will actually fit in their wheelhouse of over-the-top games. Secrets to Def Jam's success relies none other than on the Aki engine. For those who are not familiar with the Aki engine, they're responsible for games such as WCW vs. NWO Revenge, WCW vs. NWO World Tour, WrestleMania 2000, and WWF No Mercy. And they were supposed to be responsible for making the sequel to WCW NWO Revenge for the next gen console at the time, which was the GameCube and the PlayStation 2. However, Vince McMahon bought out WCW, which canceled the entire project. So Aki was left in the air and EA decided to pick them up. Now that that's out the way, let's talk about the key features of this game. First, we're gonna jump into the intro. In the beginning intro, you're greeted by a mysterious voice that's giving you the rundown of what's going on in the city and in his turf. The intro tells the story in a very deep way in order for you to want to complete it by telling you that the only way you can get to the final boss is by beating his soldiers. And he even greets you with a final line before the opening credits.
But nobody ever beats me.
That really gets you pumped up to play the game, especially when you see that ending sequence. So with that out the way, now let's talk about characters. There's over 46 characters to choose from. You're also able to select between 12 stages to choose from, with very unique and different scenery. There's also several game modes you can play from, such as singles, tag matches, free-for-all, handicap matches, and survival. There's also in-game music from various artists that you play with in the game, which makes a perfect blend while fighting. There's various ways to win a match in Def Jam. You can win by pinfall, submission, and none other than iconic blazing moves. Blazing moves results into a KO, but the only way you can actually KO your opponent is if they're completely in danger. Every character has a unique blazing, both front and back. There's also a Japanese port of the game that allows you to play with the Japanese rappers such as Daibo and S-Word. Now that we reviewed the gameplay modes, let's jump right into the story. In the story mode, you choose between 4 fighters. The story will stay the same, however, no matter who you choose. In the beginning, you're called up by your friend Manny, who apparently got too deep into his gambling debts. So as a retired fighter, you go through the gauntlet cleaning off his debt. However, the character you chose in D-Mob has a long history. Apparently, you lost D-Mob in the previous year and lost your girlfriend as well. So you go through the gauntlets, beating all his guys in order to get her back. The difficulty rises when you get to the more known and actual real rappers of the game. You have to face rappers such as Scarface, Nori, Ludacris, Method Man, Ed Redman, Ghostface Killer, WC, Capone, and Keith Murray, until you finally reach D-Mob and defeat him for his throne. During story mode, you also get to choose between your girlfriends. You can either choose to keep one or move on to the next one. However, at the end, decide which one you choose, you get to unlock all their pictures of the real life models in the game. that pretty much wraps up the game. Now for the most important question. Is it worth playing? Of course it's worth playing. I've been playing this game since 2003. That's 17 years and it's still fun to this day. It's even more fun when you have multiple people with you. Regardless of what system you play it on, versus PlayStation 2 or even GameCube, this game is very, very enjoyable and you should definitely check it out. Show Def Jam some love and hopefully we can bring it back for the near future. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching and hearing me out. And please, it would mean a whole lot if you leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.